Welcome to the third episode of the theme series about how to build your marketing strategy at the Not Your Marketer podcast. Today, we're going to see how to create value and how to position your company. Stick around. Once again, welcome to the Not Your Marketer podcast. This is episode 12 from February 8th, 2021. Today, we're going to talk about how to add value to your products and to your customers and how to position your brand. So let's begin. First of all, we have to keep in mind some basic core concepts of marketing, okay? So in marketing, there is something called the need, which is obviously what the customer is looking for, the want, which is the translation of that need into something as specific from the side of the customer, a demand that is going to be the result of all the things that the customer will want, and then we also have the value and satisfaction. So let's take a look into the need. So when we think about needs, we have 5 different types of them, okay? So we have the stated needs, which is something that the customer is always going to be outspoken about. So for example, if the customer wants an inexpensive car and they are looking for a car or a new vehicle, then there's the real need. In the case of a car, the customer may want a car whose operating cost and not just the initial retail price is low. The unstated needs is or would be when the customer expects good service from the dealer. Then you have the delight needs, which is after the customer have purchased the car. I don't know, it may include some extras like onboard navigation system, CarPlay, Android Auto, something like that. And then you have the secret needs, which is that the customer wants to be seen by friends as a savvy consumer. So we have stated, real, unstated, delight, and secret needs. All of them in the same person. So one of the things that a lot of people always complain about marketing is that we create new needs in the mind of the customers, and that we are also not so truthful to what we offer. And the best example of this is when you see a picture of a Big Mac hamburger and then you see the real one, right? So obviously a lot of time the reality is going to be not as good as the picture in the ad. However, the thing that we need to focus is on how we try to convey not only the message of the value that we offer, but to actually deliver that value. So, do we create needs as marketers? My take on this is that we don't create the needs. What we do is that we create a desire, okay? So, let's take Apple for example. Apple promotes and sells iPhones, right? So they do not create the need for a smartphone. The need for a smartphone has been hidden underneath the customer minds for quite a long time. What do you do with a smartphone? Do you communicate with your friends? So there is the very human need to connect and to communicate with others. You can have and you can be up to date with the latest news. So you have the need to be knowledgeable and to get the news also covered. And then you can do many other things, like you can read ebook, you can listen to music. So you have another need, a need for being entertained. So what we do, or what marketers do when they just promote a product, it has to do more with the creation of a desire for them, I mean, for the customer to desire to have your product, to purchase your product in order to fulfill a need that has been already there. And how do we do that? I mean, we do that with advertising, we do that with communication and so forth, but also we do that by conveying the value for the product that we are going to promote. So a lot of different things adds value to our product offering. And there is one thing that you have to be also aware of, and that is your USP, unique selling proposition. I mean, why should customers purchase from you instead of the competition? What do you offer in exchange? Is your product cheaper? Is your product, I mean, does your product has higher quality, better customer service? Do you have more features or warranties or whatever? Or is it something else? So let's go back to the Apple example. So we have an iPhone, and let's compare that with the equivalent top tier smartphone from Samsung. So that would be, right now, it would be the S21, could be. So you have two smartphones that are hand in hand in the same top tier, high-end category of smartphones. You may argue that Samsung may include some features, technological features and innovations that they are not available yet on the iPhone. However, the perception of the product and perception of the brand is going to be quite different. And this is why, I mean, this is because Apple, they don't only sell the product and the features with the product. What they do is also to sell the value that is added to that product, and it has to do with many different things. It begins with the operating system that is going to be easier to understand and to manage. It also has to do with safety features and security for managing your information and protecting your personal data. It also has to do a lot with the sense of belonging to a tribe. So people that owns Apple devices usually feel themselves like part of a community, part of a tribe, and you feel identified with that people as well. And this is something that surpasses the boundaries of the physical product itself. It can even surpass the boundaries of the brand perception. And this is something that, in order to be achieved, I mean, you have to invest a lot of resources. And this is not only about economic resources, it has to be also about being creative and to know how to convey the right message at the right time. And this is how a company like Apple can put all those values, all the things that add value in the scale. And when you think about the other side of the scale, where it's going to be the pricing, which is usually the first thing that subtracts value to the product or to the value proposition, people are willing to pay for that. They don't care that they can have or they can get a smartphone with the same kind of features and technological innovation for half the price from some other company. I mean, they only want the iPhone because of many other things. And this is why we should be very careful about the things that we convey when we do also communication. And this obviously has to do a lot with the positioning of the brand. So if you think about the mind of a traditional customer, there are certain spots that has been already taken by some companies, whether they ask for a specific category of product or to a specific product itself. So if you think about, for a second, I'm just going to ask you 3 questions. Give me the first name that comes to mind when I ask you for tech innovation. So probably you are going to think about companies like Apple. It could be also Tesla, companies that has been involved in the development of a lot of technological advances, but also that has been able to convey the right message. I mean, probably you wouldn't think about Virgin Galactic or Boeing or Airbus when you think about technological innovation if you're not near to those markets. for those industries. However, they has been investing a lot in tech innovation as well. And if I ask you about luxury brand, give me a name of the best brand that represents luxury. Probably you already know a few of them. I don't know, it could be Louis Vuitton, it could be Rolex, it could be anything, any brand that for you defines the standard for luxury. And also, if I ask you, name a brand just by the next word that I'm going to say to you, just do it. Obviously, you're going to think about Nike. So, there you have 3 ways to position your company, one or your brand. The first one has to do with characteristics of the company itself. In this case, in the first example about technological innovations. Then you have in the second option, you can do your positioning because of the definition of what you do, luxury, in the case of Louis Vuitton or Rolex. And then you have the positioning because of the claim, just do it, with Nike. Nike positioned themselves by just 3 words that were the claim from an advertising campaign that has surpassed the value and has surpassed the boundaries of the reach of the company itself. And this is something that is very difficult to achieve, but once you have achieved it, you have gained a terrain that is going to be very hard for other brands to take over. So, how can we get there? We can get there with the message that we convey, but also by the attributes that has been involved in our product and with our service offering. So, I'm just going to make you another example. Think about these 2 companies or these 2 brands from the same company, Nestlé. Nestlé owns Dolce Gusto, which is a sub-brand of Nescafé, which is a brand from Nestlé, and Nespresso. So, both brands belong to the same industry with the same category of product, which is coffee. Coffee to be made at home with specialized machines, with capsules. So, Nestlé has these 2 companies and these 2 brands in the same category, and yet they have been very differentiated from one another, and they have different positioning depending on the values and the attributes. So on one hand, you have Nespresso, which could be like a more exclusive kind of approach to have or to drink coffee at home, with a special boutique kind of stores. It's a very curated customer experience. And then you have Dolce Gusto, which offer more variety in the terms of products and the options. You can only, you don't only have capsules for plain coffee. You have coffee like latte, cappuccino, mochaccino. You can even have or purchase capsules right from Nescafé for tea. And this is something that also positioned that brand into some other place. It's like comparing, or it's like having a Rolls Royce, a classic Rolls Royce, and to have an SUV. For the Rolls Royce, you have luxury, you have your very comfortable and so forth, but you wouldn't take the Rolls Royce to a trek, to the mountain, right? Whether with the SUV, you're going to be obviously going to be able to go off-road and to do more things. And this is not about, that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. They only answer to different needs and to different desires from the customers. And this is something that when you think about the marketing strategy as a whole, you have to keep in mind, as we have discussed before, about the market segmentation. Then you have to think about the target marketing, which was what we discussed on the second episode. And then the marketing positioning, which is how you are going to position your brand in front of your customers. And you have to do this thinking about attributes of your product, how do you position your brand in terms of definition, characteristics, or the communication that you do, and also about the value offering. How do you add value to your customers when they purchase from you? So on the next episode, we're going to be covering about how to delight your customers. And this is going to be the point where right before the customer actually purchased something from you to the moment they have already purchased the product and start enjoying the whole experience of having your product or service. That would be 2 weeks from now. Next week, I'm going to come back with the latest news on marketing, business, and tech as usual. Please be safe, take care, and see you on the next episode. 𝗵𝗶𝗀 out.